Hey, everybody, there's something important happening in the Amazon Influencer Program right now. And this isn't about any special features or anything like that. This is actually something pretty serious that you need to be aware of that is happening. Now, to be clear, this isn't related to Oink or any extension, actually, for that matter, or any tool. This is actually something different. This is related to how many videos you're uploading and how often you're uploading. And so I'm just going to jump into exactly what it is that I've seen here over the last 48 hours. So somebody mentioned that they went to their storefront, the manage videos page, and there's an error message they haven't seen before. And it says, we have detected an unusually high volume of content uploads to your storefront. Your content is ineligible to appear in placements outside of your storefront. So what that message is saying is like, look, we feel like you're uploading too much, and that makes us feel weird. Something's not right about that. So because of that, we're going to actually remove your videos from the product pages. It's still in your storefront. Your storefront's still there, but we think you're uploading more than you should be uploading. Now, this is a huge problem because there has never been an indication that I'm aware of from Amazon of anything of like, don't upload too much. If anything, they're like, give us your videos. We need your videos. There's not been any sort of documentation, no sort of messaging, no sort of indication that like there's such a thing as uploading too much. And especially because these videos that this person was uploading, it's their videos. They're just repurposing them from the US. Now, I also want to be very clear on how much they were uploading to give you some context. Over the previous 7 days before they got this message, they had uploaded, I think it was close to 2,000 total videos between Amazon.com.ca and .co.uk. It's a ton of videos. That's an extreme amount of videos. And I don't say that in a negative way. That was a lot of work. And Amazon has not given any indication that there is such a thing as uploading too much. And so I really don't have much of a problem with that until this. So it was a lot of work. I mean, and obviously people here aren't doing that much typically. Now, the other problem is Amazon's not giving them any sort of messaging. They haven't gotten any sort of communication of like why this has happened, what the threshold does, what this means for their account going forward. And as we see sometimes in situations like this, their customer support is not well versed in this particular world. And so the replies and responses aren't necessarily adequate, right? And not actually addressing the problem. So they're kind of in this weird area. Now, there's somebody else that this happened to, and we found out about this because of this thread. And she said a week ago, she had uploaded that week prior a lot of videos. Again, an extreme amount of videos, maybe like over 1,000, if I remember right, maybe even higher than that within a 5 to 7 day period. So you're talking 200 uploads a day, probably on average, just trying to remember the numbers here. But it was extreme. And again, not in an offensive way. That was hard work. They should not have been caught up in this, and something has happened. And so, two examples where people are uploading an extremely high amount of videos, trying to get their other storefronts built up, and now this message appears out of the blue. Now, a couple of inconsistencies between these two examples. Example one, they're seeing this error message on US and Canada. Example two, US is actually fine. I think they're only getting out on Canada or UK. I can't remember. So some inconsistencies there. Also, at least on example one, the blue check did not return. Usually whenever you get deemed ineligible for on-site, the blue check shows up and it tells you you're not available for on-site. As of right now, that hasn't appeared. The only thing that has appeared is this random message on the manage videos page, and they're also seeing their sales have gone down over the last 24 hours or so. So what do I think is happening here? I think this is something new that Amazon is doing. I think it's new for a couple reasons. One is I've never heard of this. I've talked to several people today, power users that have been around for much longer that have not just not seen it, not heard of it. And so now to have two examples within a week is a bit uncanny. So it seems like this is something new. And what I think that it is, pure speculation here, is that Amazon is implementing some sort of a AI bot detection system. That, you ever see those accounts where it's like the same video over and over again? Somebody just upload 200 or 300 of them real quick. I think it's intended to catch that. But if it is truly new, then there's a good chance that it's so new that Amazon doesn't have it set up in a way where they can detect what's legitimate and what's not. Again, these were these people's videos. They were repurposing them from the US and putting them on their other platforms. And so I think these people have been swept up in something that they were not intended to get swept up in. I don't think that it was meant for them, which is horrible. I hope it's temporary for these people. They're not getting any answers right now, that it seems like. And so I hope that somebody gets this fixed on their behalf. And so what does this mean going forward? Well, I can say two things. One is, my advice to you is, if you're somebody that is hell-bent on building up your other storefronts for like Canada and UK or whatever the case is, and you have 500, 1,000 videos, don't do it in a week. Spread that stuff out. I can't tell if this is even a legitimate error at this point or if it's just some weird bug that got triggered that wasn't intended for them. I can't tell what's happening right now, but caution is probably the best thing to be guided by right now in relation to this. So don't be going like, you know what, I'm just going to go bonkers. I'm hell bent on making this all done within a week. Don't do that. Spread it over a month, whatever the case is. Your storefront, will just be just as happy if you do it over the course of a month. Aside from that, for me personally, you need to kind of figure out where your lines are at. Because again, I'm just going based off of I'm just going to keep doing what I'm normally doing. Typically for me, I am, spending most of my time doing video uploads, like new content, and not going back in my storefront as much. I mean, I still am and going and uploading some of those videos over to those other sites, but maybe I'll do 30 in a day tops just because that's my time and kind of whatever. And I'm still, for me personally, comfortable with that. Now, look, I also realize that these people were comfortable with what they were doing. And tomorrow, Amazon could come back to me and go, hey, that 30 was too much. I don't think that's the case, but right now, I'm just not exactly sure based off of what we're seeing. But that's where my comfort level's at. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing that I normally was doing. I just think that if you're in a position where you're just like, especially whenever it comes to the Canada and UK stuff, if you're going to try to move a bunch of content over at once, don't do it. Just back off of it. Drop that number significantly. I don't know if that ends up being whatever you feel comfortable with. I don't know if that's 20 a day, 30 a day. I don't know what that number ends up being like. But until we get more answers or some sort of resolution into these two specific cases, I think that caution needs to be the guiding light here with everything else. So again, not to be an alarmist with what's going on, I would have never thought that there would ever be a situation where Amazon says, hey, those legitimate videos that you're uploading, you're uploading too many of them. And because of that, instead of just giving you like a general throttle, which this could end up being, right? This could end up being like a timeout for the one person said 5 days. It could be like 7. I don't know what the situation here is, but it's surprising to me. I would be shocked if they are now going to put these people into a permanent timeout for on-site for something that Amazon at no point said was ever a problem, and in fact encouraged more and more video uploads, especially because these are legitimate. So caution until we get more answers on this, and that's it. So be curious to hear you guys' thoughts on this and your feedback, but want to keep you up to date as always. Peace out.